Okay, we're good to go. Yay. Okay. Welcome, everyone. I'm joined with two super people here. I've got Larissa Papenmeier from racing the women motocross, the World Championship. As well, La, you are the German women's champion as well,
Yes.
a few times over, and from England, though I think we can still call her Australian, Caitlin. I have Caitlin Wood from based in the UK, and Caitlin is raced in the Formula 3, the WSeries in 2019, and made a massive, I suppose in 2016. Caitlin, what sort of age? How old were you?
Yeah, I was 18 when I moved to Europe. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So she took up Caitlin took up an opportunity under writer engineering in Germany, which is close to La, same country, and has made some decisive decisions, I think, and I that's mainly the reason why I chose both of you women to be in the magazine, the first issue. You both have made deliberate decisions to pursue racing and face the challenges head on. I think that in itself provides, especially younger women who are coming up, inspiration and achieved results along the way. So perhaps, La, can we start with you? The WMX series, apart from the racing, by the time you get to the track, it's kind of like, yay. But it's all the things before, it can be challenging. Even, the budget and the sponsor, not to mention COVID and the change of schedule. And, we're still sort of only a 5-round series or a 6-round series. How, over the course of the years, how do you think you've managed to basically face all the challenges that come year by year?
It's definitely different and also difficult for sure. I mean, this challenge with COVID is something nobody had before, but it's the same for everybody. So yeah, for sure it's going to be different to start this year or this season also only in end of July. So actually it's like second half of the season where you should think, okay, I'm almost done with racing. But yeah, it's only starting then. Can be good, can be bad. It depends. I mean, for me, I was actually always strong in the beginning of the season when it started pretty early. Yeah, but this time I think it's also fine for me to start in the middle of the season or actually end of July. Yeah, but yeah, like you said, it's difficult to also find sponsors or get the support because yeah, most of the people are thinking about themselves now or how to put their money or where to invest. And yeah, then it's difficult if somebody like us comes there and asks for money or support. Yeah, definitely a challenging season, I guess.
Yeah. And Caitlin, how has your basically your life schedule, I suppose, let's just go post W series. Did participating in that series in 2019, did it affect 2020, or did really COVID take over everything? And you do have a working role, the same as Larissa, as a driver instructor. Yeah, what have been the main challenges perhaps over the last year and a bit?
Yeah, it's just been crazy, to be honest. Yeah, in 2020, after the WSeries, we had some things lined up that then just didn't come to fruition from COVID. So, everybody struggled around the world. Obviously, being based in the UK hasn't been great, definitely during COVID. So we've been in and out of lockdowns for a year now, nearly coming up into March. So. Yeah, well, I just wasn't able to. When we did reopen in July, I wasn't able to get anything together. I did one endurance race at Silverstone, which was great, in a BMW, just to get back into it. But in regards to single seater stuff, we weren't able to put that together for 2020. Obviously, that is a goal of mine for 2021. We're still working on a few things, and I'd love to be back in a seat full time. Obviously, the announcement yesterday with lockdown and everything will finally be starting to ease off in the next few months. So we will definitely still have a late start to the season, but we should still have a season, which is definitely positive. It's been tough. Obviously, no gyms are open, so it's training from home. Everything's from home. And yeah, I work as a race instructor, so I haven't been at work for nearly 4 months. Just because, yeah, obviously nothing's open. We're not allowed to. So yeah, it's been crazy. You definitely get a little bit bored of my same old apartment, but Matt and I keep ourselves busy at the workshop working on our own cars. And I'm just training hard on the simulator at home all the time, just trying to keep myself ready to hopefully go racing soon.
Yeah, I think like that's pretty much sums up how the attitude that both of you have when you're throwing curveballs. I mean, it can be curveballs through any years, though. I mean, I look back, Lara, and you won, that second race at Valkenswaard last year, and then you took she took the overall, Larissa took the overall at Mantova. Points were like incredibly close. Like and you managed to carry that pressure and still stay, I suppose, semi calm going into the final round. And I think the same for you, Caitlin. No. But I mean, like you can see crossovers. Caitlin, you had that final round at Brands Hatch in the WSeries in 2019, and oh my gosh, the points were literally only 1 point into an automatic selection for 2020. So, you can see how you take on those pressures, but I mean, they kind of like just change to different pressures. Yeah, but you still deal with it, and instead of throwing in the towel and saying, this is it, this is going to be my last series, Larissa, and yet you can still rise above it, and full credit basically to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Probably that raises a question about how to deal with the pressure when it is so tight. And I mean, this season will be no different, I would imagine. We've got 5 rounds, July through to October, and it's only 10 races. It's not a lot. There's not really that much margin for error. La, do you think the past couple of years, maybe you'll approach the next this season a little bit differently, or how do you feel?
Well, differently, yeah. I mean, the speed is there to be at the top, and Yeah, for sure, I'm not getting younger. It can be my last year. I mean, I'm saying that already a couple of years, but I don't know. So yeah, I'm just trying to give my best, like every time, to be prepared for whenever the season starts, and yeah, just giving my best.
Okay. And Caitlin, I think probably a nice silver lining was racing the esport the league on the Sims. They WSeries cancelled the whole series last year and basically replaced it with an esports league series. Caitlin, did you surprise yourself on within that series, or racing Sims is like, I don't know, is it chalk and cheese than actually racing in the car, or?
It was a little bit, and yeah, I did actually. It was, we had loads of pole positions, loads of podiums, and yeah, it was good fun. It was a good replacement, obviously, to not being able to race in real life in 2020. So yeah, it was nice to sort of come back to it and race against, obviously, all the new girls in the W series, and then some of the ones from 2019, and yeah, to be racing up the front, obviously, putting in the time to try and be good at it. It was definitely something, a new technique. It wasn't like driving in real life, and once you differentiate that, once you realize, okay, it's not like real, and you need to make the changes that you need to change, I think the results started to come then. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love being a part of the W Series programs, and everything that they're doing within motorsport, I think, is great. So yeah, I love being the Aussie representative, and showing young girls that we can do it too. So yeah, no, it was good. I definitely did surprise myself, which was a nice surprise. But I want to give it another crack and show my full potential, which would be really cool.
Yeah, like bringing full credit to W Series for bringing in the esports league, I think, as a replacement, if you like. And then, I'm looking at this Extreme E series that's starting up in, I think it's April. Yeah, and it's basically confronting climate change through a race program over, I think, four continents. But I mean, the interesting part is that their requirements are within the team. The team has to consist of one male driver and one female driver, and that's kind of like new and a bit out of the ballpark. But I mean, maybe maybe we are looking at some changes that organisations are putting in place to make women more inclusive in their sport. It's way long overdue. It's
absolutely. It's like they've just sort of thrown gender equality and made it their main focus alongside climate change, and they're addressing two issues in, I guess, not only motorsport but sport and the world at once. So it's really quite impressive, and I'm excited to watch the first round and support everyone that's involved with it. I think I think motorsport needed something like this, another trailblazing organization to sort of just do it.
Yeah, because I think Lewis Hamilton, he has a team. Caitlin, is that correct? Yeah, and we have a couple of the women who race the Dakar. They are part of a team. I think we have Laya Sands, and and another
is with Rosberg's team, which is interesting.
Yeah, and I think Christina Gutierrez is also in a team. So it definitely is. It's a move in a different direction. It would be nice, Larissa, to see WMX step up in profile within MXGP. It's many years of an argument, I suppose, but encouraging that in Britain, the ACU British Motocross Championship have included a separate WMX series to run in conjunction. And I actually was only contacted by one of the promoters yesterday. And, there are positive steps in this, especially for La, because you have formed your own team, and you have younger riders. Do you think, La, that participating in a British women's series could be possible for your team? I know budget is going to come into it, but they've got 3 rounds, and I think the 3 rounds actually run before WMX series in Europe. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think never say never. I mean, even if it's not your plan, you can still do it. I mean, I also always said I will never ever do MX2 or something like that, and I did it. So, for sure, it's something interesting. I hope it's not coming together with a WMX or like breaking anything off to the other series. So, yeah, but like my teammates, firstly, like they're going to start in Germany or like Europe around. They're still really young, so yeah, they have to get into it, and yeah, but it's a good step maybe to do it before WMX or something like the European Championship. And I mean, there's many races the women's can do. They just like they're not supported and they're not like popular enough.
Yeah, and I think it goes across the board, Caitlin. Do you find that the opportunities, apart from COVID, have become more competitive for women, for yourself to actually get race time?
Yeah, I think in the past, I think 5 years, we've seen a massive switch in motorsport, which is great. Looking to have more diversity and to support more women in motorsport, not only in driver roles but in engineering roles and all different sorts of roles, which is really, really great to see. But like you said, it doesn't take away from the fact that there's still competitive spots that need to be filled by competitive drivers. So it doesn't necessarily matter at that point whether you are a male or a female. It just matters if you can do the job or not. So I think it just always comes down to that. And motorsport always needs money. So someone needs to fund it, whether that's yourself or whether that's a sponsor or a private investor. So ultimately, we need to most of the time usually be a full package. So you don't only need to be competitive, but you need to obviously be good with the media, and most of the time have your own sponsors or have your own way of funding that season. So that is what is so unique about the W Series is you do go through a selection process, and then technically it's like a scholarship. Your season is then funded, and not many championships in the world have ever done that before. So it's extremely impressive. I think motorsport is going in the right direction. I think with all these new championships that have been released, and also FIA Girls on Track and Women in Motorsport is definitely pushing things in the right direction. We're having more women compete at the pinnacle levels, which is what we want. We just need to sort of keep pushing and get someone into Formula One. That would be pretty cool. Ultimately, I just want to race anything and everything. I want to do it all. So I want to get into Le Mans and be the first Aussie woman to win that. So that's where I want to be.
Yeah, and I think, like, to have firm goals set in place is always, the number one, and then you just work backwards on how to achieve them. That's
Yeah.
that's kind of like how I figured. Part of this, I suppose, was about the magazine, but I mean, that was kind of like the point of the magazine. I wanted to. Well, we don't have one in the whole world, so you just think, what, like, what's going on? Like, why hasn't somebody done this? And number two was, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't have a magazine on women in motorsport. No, not in any shape or form. And another, number three was, I wanted to be able to showcase the best women in the world who, are racing. And with, social media is wonderful, but you get a constant stream of feeds, and like the most important stories will be lost in 24 hours because
Yeah,
they're replaced with,
That's true.
they're replaced with another 6 posts. And, if you didn't have time to scroll through your phone for even 5 minutes, you've lost, something really valuable. So that kind of like was, I thought, I don't want to have really, interesting stories about the woman who I work with just lost because, another 10 feeds have replaced it. I thought the other day, because this is not something that just happened, over the last few months. I've kind of like worked at it for years, and the cost of the magazine is, I think it's 10 New Zealand dollars or something. And I was in a shop, and a t-shirt was like $12, and I thought, oh my goodness, the price of my magazine is the same price as a t-shirt. Oh,
But it's worth
but
it.
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. And I think, like, to use it as a stepping stone. And then, Caitlin, as you said, when you see the Extreme E series starting up, and, La, when I look at the British WMX series starting, that's another stepping stone. I know that, there are young girls in New Zealand and in Australia who race motocross, but the step from New Zealand and Australia, as Caitlin knows, to actually go and race, even large, to go and race within WMX in Europe, that's a big step. So if there was a transition, if there was a transition series, which, the British could provide, and the same with Extreme E, to race Dakar for X number of years, say in the bike category, is really incredibly hard. You do see women drivers make a switch from riding the bike to racing in a car or in the SSV and the quad category. So if you sit back and sort of analyze it over more of a broader picture, I think that, even though COVID has put a huge dampener on maybe progress that we aren't racing, there is progress being made and perhaps rethinking where we want to see women's sport in 5 years' time. La, do you feel that, I know you're so passionate about racing WMX, but do you feel that you're just as passionate about seeing your team develop as riders as well?
Well, that's a good question. It's difficult for sure. I can't really say now. I mean, I want to help them to get there where I am if they want to. But yeah, if it gets like, I mean, it's on a good step with the WMX now, but if it gets like a step worse again, like let's say less
Yeah.
races or something, I don't
Yeah.
think that it makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't really earn your money with that, or yeah. I mean, if you do it from the beginning, right, it's maybe possible to live from it for the moment, but yeah, not really like for the future. So if you get the support and you have fun doing it, it's okay. But yeah, I wouldn't just push them there because I think it's the best what you can do in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Caitlin, just looking at your working role as a driver instructor, apart from all the COVID restrictions, do you get a positive feedback that the people who are under you through a session, this not necessarily they want to be a racing car driver, but it improves their skills just for general life? Would that be a fair comment?
Yeah, I guess so. It definitely opens their eyes, that's for sure. It I don't I don't hold back. I let them know how good or bad they are. So yeah, it's I just enjoy it because I was explaining this to someone the other day. I had an easy pathway into motorsport. My brother raced go-karts, and I just grew up around the go-kart track, and it was a family thing, and I just thought, why not? I want to do it. He's doing it. I want to do it. And as soon as I started, I just haven't stopped. And not all people have that, male, female, young or old. So if I can bring someone in and do a day of instructing, a day of coaching, and they thoroughly enjoy it, and then they're like, oh, how do I get into it? I'm trying to help sort of build a pathway to people to just either do it for fun and come on track days and actually learn how to drive a car fast and properly, and learn all the techniques and do it safely rather than on the roads. And I'm trying to funnel that to help people get involved, young or old or whoever. If they just want to have fun and then they find out they want to go racing, then I'd love to take them racing. So I'm sort of in that middle mark at the minute, just trying to keep building my own client base and just keep getting my name out there. Obviously, the more racing I do, the better then my business will become. But yeah, I've enjoyed building the car with Matt. Like it's definitely been interesting getting on the tools. It's not usually my thing, but no, I'm enjoying the process, and I work for a bunch of different companies. So like I said, I might only be in a car with someone for 15 minutes, but most of the time I can usually change their perception on something, whether that being a female and things like that. I definitely get some looks, like most of us do, but you're good at your job, so that's the most important part. And I just enjoy showing people up sometimes.
Yeah, and part of it is an ambassador role, I suppose. I mean, Larissa, you're an ambassador for your brand, for your sponsors, and Caitlin, as well. I mean, you're promoting the ones who are basically supporting yourself to carry out your work. I looked at did a bit of research on the GNCC in America, that the Grand National Cross Country Series, and they run a series. It's 13 rounds for the women's class, basically combined over a weekend. Huge number turnout. Our one of our New Zealand girls races the series. 500 riders and just on the morning session. So when you do delve into other disciplines and see, what is working and what isn't working, it kind of like gives you a little bit more insight, I suppose, on perhaps how strategies to be changed or to be modified, or how these organisations have built up the sport to attract such large and also media interest as well. So I do agree, La, that WMX needs to take a higher profile within. There's no alternative to be able to grow the audience and to grow interest by sponsors if they aren't given a greater profile. And Caitlin, perhaps like the scenario is slightly different, but I know that with single-seater racing, it's not like you can go to a track in the weekend and get your bike out of the van and go for a ride.
Yeah, it's a bit trickier than that.
They are real challenges, Caitlin, isn't it? Always to get just seat time.
Yeah, I think if you ask any driver what the hardest part about racing is, it is usually getting the sponsors to get the seat time. And obviously the more seat time that you have, the better the outcome usually. So I think it's talked about all the time in motorsport about how to reduce the cost, how to make it more efficient to funnel the talent through all the different championships. So ultimately, like I was saying before, you as a driver need to represent yourself as a brand, like you said, Sharon, and you need to be able to promote yourself to companies. And it's not just stickers on the car anymore like it used to be in the old days. Like, you need to provide a whole rounded package and show them why they want to invest in you as an athlete, driver, as a person as well. So it's something that I'm trying to get better at all the time. I feel like you can never be perfect at it. That is the tough part of motorsport. So you can either let it, get you down, or you can try and jump on the bandwagon and try and just get it done. So that's what I think we're all trying to do, is just try and put some budget together and keep following our dreams, really. That's what it's all about, isn't
it? That's true.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there's nothing like sitting on the start line ready for the gates to drop. And Caitlin, there's nothing like sitting in a car watching the lights go, ding, ding, ding. It really is. It's just an awesome feeling. And I'm not even in the car or on the bike.
But you're everywhere around.
Yeah, I'm everywhere around. Well, thank you so much, ladies. I mean, it's amazing, when you do talk face to face, and you can just make the conversation a little bit deeper and just sort of pick apart issues, and you come up with it's sort of a brainstorming session, I suppose. But I mean, it helps me because when I write, you can bring in Larissa's perspective or Caitlin's perspective, and and it definitely adds depth to my work, and hopefully promoting the woman in general. We didn't really talk much about the magazine, but but it's at the moment it's being whatever they do, they put it on steel plates and for the printing, and then I visited the printers a couple of times, and the size of the production plant is 6 times one of our rugby fields, which is like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
And the rollers, the drums that the dye is in are, fits my bathroom. So yeah, it should be delivered to my door, all these thousands of copies, by the end of the week, and then I can send you out your copy. So yeah,
Perfect. I
awesome.
can't wait.
yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be yeah, it's kind of like a milestone, and yeah,
Yeah,
and then
sure.
and then you just move forward from there.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being so supportive of all of
Yeah,
us.
for
I don't
sure.
think we can sort of say it
Unbelievable.
enough.
Nobody else does
Yeah.
that.
Like, you do this because you're a fan and you want to help support us and promote women in motorsport, and that's awesome. I think that's great, and we need more people like you in the world to want to help each other. So it's great. So thank you for creating something like this, and I'm sure we'll all promote it as much as we can to try and, I guess, help promote each other. Really, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah. Thanks, Caitlin. Yeah, it is. I mean, like what I think my role is, I can give you, woman a voice, and in return, the woman get a little bit more screen time or print time or online time, so that someone in America reads about Larissa racing WMX, and someone in South Africa, Caitlin, reads about that's really the objective. So cross fingers it'll work.
I'm sure
It will work. Yeah, I'm sure. We will help.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, thank you ladies very much, and
Thank you very much.
I'll be in touch anyway, and all the best for the season. Yeah.
Thank you. See you later.
Okay.
I see you soon.
Okay. Ciao.
Bye bye.